Easter basket that you could pop some of your goodies in there, maybe a little bit of the Easter eggs, maybe some of the little cupcakes if they last. But this is what we're going to be making just here. Now this has also been made from our 12 by 12 Hoppy Easter paper pad, which I know so many of you have got. Now what I've already done beforehand, Ben, is I have taken one of the 12 by 12 and I've chopped it down to 9 by 9. Then what I've done is I've taken my red adhesive spray, the permanent red adhesive spray, and then I've sprayed it on the back and then I've popped it onto some of our white cardstock just to give that a little bit more stability, because we're going to be using it as a basket to pop things in there. So that's all that I've done beforehand. You could use your tape runner, your tacky glue if you want. That's up to you if you don't have the spray. So chopped it down to 9 by 9 inches. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go in with our scoreboard here and we're going to keep it really simple, and we're going to score at 3 inches all the way round. So I like to do light scores and then multiple times, especially because the pattern paper, off the top of my head, it's about a 180. So therefore it's 180 on top of a 300 GSM white cardstock. So I just want to go lightly and I want to go a few times. And then what I've also done with the excess remaining, I've got my strip here, which is 1.5 by 9 inches. So that's 1.5 inches by 9 inches. That just came off the edge, and that is going to be our handle. So essentially that is it. So what we need to then do is we just need to go in and then we just need to fold all of these lines. Now when it comes to folding, I always like to do it by hand and my thumb to start with. Then what I'll do is I'll then go in and I'll take my bone folder and then we'll give it a nice burnish by flipping it each way. And I've gone in with that beautiful daisies, because you could easily use the Easter egg paper. But I think something about Easter as well, even if you don't celebrate Easter as such, the daisies, I think, are a really good transition between the spring and the Easter, and you can use them for both, hence why we've gone for this one. Then what we're going to do, we're going to be left then with our blocks. You can actually see them there. So while I hold it that way, what we're going to do is we're going to cut, cut, cut and cut. So we're going to go in. I'm just going to go in the middle of the score line. Doesn't matter if you're at the left or the right or in the middle, but we're going to then cut upwards up to that first score line. I'm going to then turn it around and then we're going to do exactly the same. So we're going to cut up and then we're going to cut upwards like so. So then this is what we're going to be left with, that you can see here. And then if I just hold it that way, what you'll start to see in a moment is how the basket starts to come together, just by starting to fold each of these in. Now what I've also done, and we'll do it in a moment, is I've just taken some more pattern paper from the Hoppy Easter collection and I've chopped them down to 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. Now I'm not going to stick them on just yet, because if I'd done that, Ben, what would tend to happen is we're starting to then cross over. So if I then just pop them on at the end, just my preferred way of doing it, and then we're going to start off. What I also like to do, and this is just me, I like to just do a little pencil line at that centre point, and I'll explain why in a moment, which of course is going to be the 1.5. And the only reason I like to do that then is visually, Ben, it means then I can then eye up and line up just that centre point where the two parts come together. And it's just the way that I like to do it. You don't have to, but the option's there if you want. And then what I also like to do, and you might find a different way of doing it, I like to connect these two bits to start with. So let's just lift that back bit. So just those two bits, connection bits there. So if I move that down, I like to then just connect them first. So I'm just going to let that hold and let that grab for a second. Use your tape if you want to, your red liner tape. And then I'm going to do the same within this side too. So let's just move that one to the back. And then I'm just going to add my little bit of glue into place. I would, of course, recommend the tacky glue for something like this, because the chances are you're going to be popping bits and pieces in it, maybe like Easter eggs or that sort of thing. So the tacky glue dries all the way through the fibres of the paper and the card. And then once I'm happy with that, what I'm then going to do is I'm just going to add some glue onto the side. I'm going to then go inwards. Now, you'll notice here, if I popped glue all the way over that back panel, what could happen then is you'll see it down on the bottom.
Yeah.
So what I just do is visually, I'll just go in and I can see my glue needs to go into there and my glue needs to come up into that corner. I'm going to fold that flat if I do it that way so you can see in, and then all that I'm going to do is just press down. Press that down, let that grab just for a few moments or two, and then once I'm happy with that, what I can then do is turn it around, do exactly the same. So I'm going to do what I'd done there before, and I'm just going to go in with my glue here. I'm going to then go in with my glue here. I'm going to turn it around, and then of course you don't need to do it backwards like I'm doing here. I'm just doing it so you can see face on exactly what I'm doing. So we'll let that grab. And what you don't need to worry about is a little pencil line that I've put, because that's going to be hidden with the handle of the basket.
Yes.
So you don't need to worry about that. And then that essentially is the start of your basket, all done. And if you want to use double-sided papers, you can do. If you want to colour or ink or stamp on the inside before you assemble, you can do that. But let's go in with our strip now, and then we'll want something just to start to manipulate the handle. So it could be your bone folder, it could be your scoring tool, it could be a pen in the kitchen drawer, it could be absolutely anything, just so that you can start to create that curvature. So we can then go in with our handle. I'm going to go back within my tacky glue again, and I'm just adding a little bit on each side here. And then this is where, if you do have the pencil mark or you've got that pen mark, it's going to be hidden. So we can then hold that down. But what's also lovely is adding that little bit of tactile. So maybe going with brads, things like that, maybe little split pins, because then what that would do is that would make the handle move side to side if you added the little brads in there. So you've got different ways in which you can then use it. Let's go in, and then if you're wanting to know where I'm lining up, just where we've got the point there, I'm just going to go in, and then I'm just going to press down like that.
This is so much quicker and easier than I thought. I thought there'd be a lot more construction.
Sometimes they do, yes. Sometimes things like the baskets, they can look a little bit daunting, but really is simple. It's 9 by 9, and then all you're doing is scoring at 3 inch, and then of course it's 6 inch. Then we're going to go in. You can, as I said before, you can do your mats and layers to start with. I'm doing it at the end, and don't worry about, of course, it covering the handle. You're not going to see this because we're going to put some daisies in place. So it's also about hiding the little connection points, but we're going to go in with my glue. So then by the end of this show, you're going to have projects where I've used a lot of the same components, like the pastel paper pad, the Easter paper pad, so you know that they're all going to complement each other, or of course, go rogue, and this could be for any occasion as well.
Yeah.
Can you imagine this with a beautiful foiled cardstock? And you could use this for maybe like weddings as well.
There's a lot of our US viewers mentioning Mother's Day, of course. That's
Mother's Day in the US. That's it, exactly. Imagine doing this with Halloween papers at Halloween time.
That'd be well good.
And that's what I wanted to do with the projects within this show. Yes, keep them focused on Easter, as that's what's coming up. But each project you'd be able to use out with the Easter theme, just by changing the colours. And then also going back to my favourite daisy die, I've already created a daisy. I'm going to go into the middle just here. I've just popped a gem already in the middle of my daisy, and then I can turn that around. We can then go into the base there, add that onto the opposite side. But if you really wanted this to be pure on Easter, this could be an Easter egg die, that could be the little bunny rabbit die if you want to. But we'll press that in, and then of course all you need to then do is add your tissue paper. You've got your little Easter basket. So there is what we've created, and that is exactly the same. The only difference is I've popped some yellow tissue paper in there, and that one is giving you your Easter basket.